listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
So this is another Wasabi hot cloud storage, Wasabi Technologies, Wasabi hot take. We always love doing these because it gives me an opportunity just to rant and rave about something that's top of mind for me, something maybe I've taken some time to investigate, to look into, whatever it is. But this one, this week, is going to be easy. This is, for me, a time-honored tradition of railing or ranting against things about the All-Star Game. Now, I retract that. It's a little bit different because I think that they have corrected some things. They have made some things better. But for years upon years upon years, when you had the one of the most fraudulent rules of all time, one of the most fraudulent stipulations of all time, which was the All-Star Game, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, actually meaning who is going to win or who is going to get home field advantage in the World Series. The winner of the All-Star Game got home field advantage in the World Series. In all of professional sports, in all of sports, in all of Little League, in all of Pop Warner football, whatever it is, it was one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen. And I think by the time that people got to the World Series, fans got to the World Series, teams get to the World Series, they kind of didn't soak in exactly how stupid it was. Because you get to the World Series and you say, well, who's got home field advantage? Who would have Game 7 for the home field? Who has the first 2 games at home? And they're like, oh, well, it's this team. And okay, well, you just assume that they maybe had the better record, or maybe it's alternating American League, National League. No, it was who won the All-Star Game. Now, so I understand why they did this. They did this because they were trying to actually make it matter, make it count more. They felt like they weren't taking it serious enough. They wanted the managers to take it more serious. They wanted the players to take it more serious. But the problem is that as this was going on, ever since they made this rule, the dynamic hadn't changed in terms of how the players were treating it. That this thing about meaning so much to home field advantage for the World Series wasn't changing really how the players were looking at it. Like in sound bites and interviews, they might be saying that, but it really wasn't. And what was happening and what had happened and what continued to happen was that you had players who would leave, they'd take it out of the game, and then they would basically be on their private jet by the 7th inning. And they were leaving by the 5th to 6th inning. You go down in the clubhouse after a game, and less than half the team, well, not less than because they got to play, but half the team was there. But the stars were on, the stars were gone, because they wanted to squeeze out every little bit of the All-Star break they could, because this is another thing about how exhausting the All-Star break is, and I'll get to that in a second. But just to put a bow on how ridiculous this rule was, the point is that you were making this game mean something very, very important, and it did. I mean, home field advantage for the World Series is a big deal, and you were making this matter basically based off a spring training game. This was the same dynamic of a spring training game, the same dynamic. In case anyone doesn't understand what happens in a spring training game, well, the starting pitcher and the starters, they do their thing, they get their work in, and then by the time the 8th inning, they are on the golf course in Arizona or Florida, wherever it is. That's how it is. And this was no different. You had no golf course, but on private jets. That's how it was. So you really had this dynamic of players who didn't care. I mean, they probably kind of cared, but if they really cared, they'd be like, this go, Let's make sure that we win this because we need home field advantage. And I don't even know if the players playing for the teams that at the time were favorites to win the World Series were yelling at the other player, like, come on, let's go. Anyway, they got rid of it. They got rid of the rule. It was the dumbest rule of all time. It was stupid for all those reasons. And then they started trying to make the players stay longer, which worked a little bit, but it's still the whole all-star dynamic. I think really, and this isn't old man yelling at clouds. I mean, this is just reality. They would win way back. The all-star dynamic, it was very competitive because you had American League, National League. You had, these players who really took pride in what league they were in, and they didn't play against each other. There wasn't this crossover. Now you see every single team every single year. You get to see all the players. So that had gone out the door, and that's understandable. It's just the price of modern baseball. But that was a different dynamic. So we get to the actual game itself, the All-Star game itself. What does it mean? How much interest is there in it? What is it dynamic like for the players? Well, I'll go back to something I just mentioned about how exhausting it is. So one thing that you have to understand when it comes to the players and the dynamic of it's an honor. I think the vast majority of players, even the ones who have been there multiple times, they're like, this is great. This is like, this is on my baseball reference page forever. Well, that's one of the things you have to understand. Is that even though we know that when we're judging Hall of Fame candidacies or judging careers, it's not like if we look at all-star games, it's not really, it's kind of like ERA for relievers. It's not really a great place to make judgments, but it doesn't hurt. So players know that, but then you also have some players who have been a few times, and they say under their breath, "Oh man, I could really use the rest. It is a lot because when you get there, you have to understand that the baseball, this is marketing the game. It's all about marketing the game and using your stars and using this event to market the game. And how you know that? Well, just understand like how long this is. I think I'm flying down to Dallas on Friday night. I'll be there till Wednesday because there's always stuff going on. You have the Futures game on Saturday. You have I don't know if you classify a celebrity softball game, which, as a quick aside, celebrity softball game, they are so leading into influencers and TikTokers. They are definitely leaning into an interesting demographic, a much, much younger demographic for the celebrity softball game, which I think, looking at the list this year, more than even ever before, but people don't care. The thing I remember about the celebrity softball game covering a couple years ago was there was Bad Bunny and then everybody else. There was like everyone else, and they had actors there. This was in LA, and everyone else might not have existed. Bad Bunny was the be all end all. So I think people who go to this, they come to understand that this typically isn't the hardcore. We want to see the great game of baseball. We want to see these people play the great game of baseball. No, it's kind of like a bobblehead night, where you go because you want to be in presence of these other people and see them run around and see them like from 500 feet away. So anyway, that's the celebrity softball. I say so. You have the Futures game, your celebrity softball game, and then obviously you have the draft, which is sort of like a mini NFL draft, where they have it. They have the stage. They have some of the players, I give Major League Baseball credit for trying. Having seen this in person, they have the commissioner come out. He gets booed, but it is such a smaller version of the NFL. I mean, smaller doesn't even do it justice, because one of the things you have to understand is that I don't think even the top picks are going to be there. The top picks weren't there. A lot of top picks aren't there. They get some guys in the first round to go, which is good. I would go if I was there just to why not? But a lot of them don't go to the event. So you don't have the players, a lot of the players there. You have these stage fans in the front row. The TV can make it look like it's, oh my goodness, the frenetic fan base of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's, look at the guys dressed like a pirate. Yeah, well, okay. It's, I mean, they're plants. And then, you have people in last year, it was in the football stadium. And so you have people watching. It's fine. It's fine. I will say this, is that the meat and potatoes of the executing a baseball franchise in the draft, like the executives, they're like, really? You already given us a trade deadline in July. Now you're squeezing this in. So we're cramming all of this together. And it has definitely changed like how they view it. Because remember, it used to be early June, you draft, and then you have a couple months to sign the guys. But this is all part of making it a big event. So it is a bigger event. So good for them. So anyway, we're going through the All-Star weekend. So you have that on Sunday, and then you have the Home Run Derby in Home Run Derby on Monday. Now, the Home Run Derby, if we want to sort of like, I don't know. I don't want to be pessimistic about this. The Home Run Derby's fine. It's fine. I would actually, I know the skills competition for the Futures game is going. I love the skills competition. I'd rather they do that for MLB. But the Home Run Derby it's fine. I don't know for Texas if it's going to be great because of the dynamics of the ballpark. You would like for instance, Camden Yards, you have that overhang. Oh my goodness. Or you have Utah Street. I can't believe you hit the warehouse. I don't know at Globe Life Field what that'll look like, but so be it. It's the Home Run Derby, the players. I remember I had, David Ortiz wore a camera on his hat for his hat. So I always find that fascinating. I think Dustin Pedroia won the one time also. I gave him, remember those old flip cameras? It wasn't, and he filmed it with his kids, probably on YouTube somewhere on the side, which that's cool for them. I think it's all of that. That's cool for the players who it's all part of the process, all part of the event. It's great. I mean, so again, I have no problem with it. It's part of the fabric of All-Star Weekend. And then you have the parade, and as Kenley Jansen told us, he said, the mistake that he made when it came to the parade when it came to All-Star Weekend was not making sure that you had the right suit for the parade. This is where you distinguish yourself. And tomorrow's podcast, the eye test, Julian McWilliams sits down with Mason Miller of the A's. We make sure that he understood that. Have the right suit. And in terms of spoiler alert, Mason Miller does have a very good suit. So make sure that you're representative. This is your opportunity to distinguish yourself, even if you want to show up in your overalls. I don't know. Just distinguish yourself somehow. So you have the parade. It's going to be 1,000,000 degrees, whatever. Then you have the game itself. And the game itself it feels like the game itself, I don't know. I mean, they're trying to make it more interesting. They're trying to, they mic players up and everything else. But I think in synopsis, what this has become, it is what it is. You can't say it's home field advantage. You can't make it count. You can't make these guys try any hard. You can't distinguish the game anymore. You can't say it means as much because it just doesn't, because you have the leagues playing each other all the time. You can't say that. You aren't just going to have some of these iconic moments that we've rattled off in years past. Bo Jackson hitting a home run, the Pedro Martinez, like all of it. You can't have that. So, but what you do have is these days of baseball, right? These days of talking about baseball, these days of keeping baseball top of mind. And then obviously once the All-Star game finishes, here we go. Trade deadline, pennant race, here we go. All right, so I just want to get all of that All-Star stuff off my chest because, yes, I'm about to board my private jet to go to the All-Star game. And you know what? I won't be leaving early on my private jet. That I can promise you. I'm there all the way to the end. All right. This has been the Wasabi Hot Take, Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, Wasabi Technologies. Thank you.